Season 8 Chapter 2 brings a lot of new exciting changes, even if you're new to the game, or have been returning from a break, and that you have been playing maybe Classic WoW or Dragonflight. In this video I'm gonna go over all the important changes, and also some of the minor ones that might make you want to reconsider giving the game another try. Also, if you want to look at the changes yourself, I posted the videos of Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, plus the forum post and the link to the Discord in the description below. First, I'm going to go over the important changes that impact the gameplay, and after I'm going to go over the changes that just are pure quality of life. I'm also going to cover some of the major changes from Season 8, just in case you missed them and have been taking a break from Season 8 in general. The first change is that the season is divided in chapters, meaning that we now have a planned release of new content and meta changes. This is a big improvement to the old system, where it was inconsistent and random whenever we got updates, either big or small, and now today they released Chapter 2, and with Chapter 2 we got a whole lot of new updates. Worldforged enchants are a new addition to the old system, but the Worldforged enchants you have to go out in the world to obtain them. There were not many changes to the draft system in general, and it's still the same draft system where you pick between 3 cards, but we still got 4 new major changes to the draft system worth mentioning. The first change to the draft system is that you can no longer obtain both a lucky skill card and a normal skill card in the same 3 options. Before, it was very frustrating to be able to see both your lucky skill card and your normal skill card in the same 3 options and having to choose between one of them. The second big change is that you can now hit lucky cards with Hand of Fate after you hit 60. This helps a lot of hitting skill cards you want, and makes lucky skill cards for level 60 such as Felamo and Bladestorm much better to use, whereas before you kinda didn't want to use lucky cards for 60 because it was not worth hitting 60 and just have one chance at hitting your lucky ability. The third change to the draft system is a thing called masteries. Masteries are abilities bundled together, such as druid forms, stances, totems and more. So when you get the option to choose a mastery, you now choose from the ability you want from the bundle. Furthermore, other abilities chosen from the bundle will not cost more ability essence to pick. So now, when you pick, like, let's say Flametongue Weapon, and you later on choose Frostbrand Weapon, you do not pay for the ability essence for Frostbrand Weapon, because it's in the same mastery. The last new addition to the draft system is that Silas randomly offers you card swaps. It's a free way to reroll skills, meaning that you can now more freely pick epic legendaries, and knowing that you will have a chance to swap them later. Furthermore, the more legendaries and epics you have, the bigger are the chances that you will get a free card swap. If you plan to raid on Ascension, these new changes are very welcoming and have been long waited, and these 3 are the top biggest improvement in my opinion. Raid lockouts have now been removed, meaning you can play as much as you want, and you are now instead being loot locked, meaning if you kill a boss you can no longer obtain loot from that boss. So you can do the raids all you want, but in Ascended difficulty that works as before, so you will be locked to the instance. So this only occurs for normal, heroic and mythic difficulty. Speaking of mythic difficulty is a new difficulty in Ascension between heroic and Ascended to lower the gap between those 2 difficulties. And with Ascended difficulty comes new changes as well. With Ascended difficulty, before you had to be either 10 man or 25 man to do the raid, and the boss did not scale. Now the boss do scale like flex difficulty for 10 and 25 man, but for world first progression you have to be either 10 man or 25 man exactly to be able to claim world first. I am not much into the PvP scene, but with high risk came a lot of good changes as well. Those changes were introduced in Season 7, where they introduced tier zones for all the respective zones in Outland. These zones were Tier 1, Tier 2 and Tier 3, and with those zones came some specific high-risk enchants, high-risk crafts that you could only obtain in those zones. Each zone came a different PvP rule, lots of items from your bag, so PvP got a lot of new stuff. These next changes both apply to PvP and PvE, and those changes are: Heirlooms item as we know them from retail, tons of new skills from Wrath and onwards have been added, Tame Elementals, removed expertise from the game and instead added the hit rating and other stats to compromise. Universalized hit rating, so no longer separated with spell hit and melee hit. Now both spell hit and melee hit has to be hit capped at 14%. Interrupts no longer need hit rating. This is both huge for PvP and PvE. Attack power scaling for spells. Spell power is getting modifiers on melee attacks, and I think they said it's only for weapon damage, but that should count for melee abilities as well. And all in all, just big changes for hybrid builds coming now with the Chapter 2, and you can read about them below. These next changes are just direct quality of life improvements to the game, and those have we been waiting for a long time. And these are horizontal gear progression, meaning that you can now purchase gear tokens from gear tokens you have already acquired. With Season 8 they also introduced a lot of new level 1 skills and skill cards to acquire them. Skills such as Charge, Cat Form, Seal of Wisdom have been added to level 1 to make it easier to roll the build you want, as before you had to hit level 20 to hit Cat Form and then hit abilities. Now you can start with it and begin your adventure hitting the abilities you want for the build. We also have some big UI improvement across the board. Better callboard UI, better Sealers UI, new Transmog UI update, and when I say new, it's the UI you know and love from retail. Updates to the Profession UI. Changes to the Equipment Manager, so just more quality of life. And I believe you can now swap equipment sets directly from your bank. And they introduced talent loadouts for more quicker and smooth build swaps. And the last quality of life change is that you can now roll Draenei and Blood Elf from level 1 in WoW Classic, and you don't have to wait for TPC to be released. Thanks for sticking to the end of the video. I hope you learned about a change or two that you didn't know of before, or that Season 8 is where you should try the game out for the first time. For myself, I'm starting my first character now, as you saw in the video footage running in the background, because these quality of life changes makes a huge difference to me, and these made me come back to Ascension. So if you like the video, consider subscribing to see when I post my next video. It's definitely not needed, but it's very much appreciated. I plan to upload about new legendary REs and build guides. Have a good one.